Hi everybody. Welcome back to Lakshtavi Nation. Hope you guys doing amazing. Hopefully yes. All right, let's get set for another channel message. Cool. Today we're gonna talk about how demons cannot just possess anyone randomly. They want something out of us, but what is it that they look out for in a vessel that they can just possess? Okay, without giving it a second thought. Oh yes. They also don't want to work like hard. Yeah. They also wanna look out for shortcuts. So the invitation that they get is through ego, right? Demons cannot just possess anyone randomly. A person has to open themselves up, often through chronic pride, right? Not chronic disease, but chronic pride, rage, lust, narcissism. I told you yesterday that narcissists make #1 vessels for demons to possess, right? And these are the traits that are believed to fracture the soul or ego, allowing an entity in. Feeding on narcissism. In some teachings, it is believed that narcissists become ideal hosts because first is they already devalue others, no respect for others and not for themselves. They are disconnected from empathy. They do not know the E of empathy, right? Or divine light, leave alone divine light. Okay, they are obsessed with control, appearances, superficial possessions, money, bank account, assets, whatever shit, which creates an illusion of strength while hollowing out the inner self. They're hollow from inside. Okay, so what is demonic influence versus possession? Most of the time it's described more as influence rather than full-blown possession. The demon doesn't necessarily wear the person like a suit, but rather whispers, tempts, manipulates their ego until the lines blur. Now, transformation over time is like, as a narcissist continues to act out selfishly with cruelty or manipulation, they may lose their humanity bit by bit, giving more space to darker forces. That's how they invite. So some say the mask of sanity eventually slips and what's left behind is just a broken person. Okay, yeah, it's something else entirely, and not just a broken person, but it's something else entirely. Psychologically speaking, now let's see from a scientific lens what happens in actual scenario. Narcissism is seen as a personality disorder, right? It's a defense mechanism that masks deep insecurity. So whoever narcissist that you have met on your journey, they are going through a deep insecurity, whether from their own childhood or maybe past trauma bonds, okay, that they haven't healed yet. That's why they're becoming unhealed, correct? Some spiritual psychologists argue that unchecked narcissism leads to a kind of soul death, right? Where a person becomes hollow, predatory, and disconnected from humanity. Now, these dark traits, okay, that's also known as psychopathy, Machiavellianism, are sometimes metaphorically referred to as demonically possessions, but just telling, this is happening, okay? Demonic possessions are happening, okay? Now, demons taking on flesh through narcissists is a powerful symbol. It means when someone becomes so consumed with themselves that they lose the ability to love or feel compassion, they become a vessel for something inhuman. Exactly. They become a vessel for something inhuman. It's something else entirely, right? Exactly. Let's take example of Voldemort, okay, Dorian Gray, Patrick Bateman in fiction. They don't just do evil things. They have lost their souls to something else. Look at that something else to which they have lost their soul. It was a motive that was greedy, that was a purpose that was selfish, right? They devalued others in that process. So in the same way, a Jezebel spirit is known for manipulation and control, seduction, destroying prophetic voices and spiritual authority, okay, usurping the headship and divine order. That's what it is born for. That's what it exists for, okay. It's often described as a principality, not a minor spirit, something that operates with the goal of corrupting authority. Corrupting the authority. So you might meet this demonic spirit like at the upper strata of the society, something like that, at the upper strata, yeah. So corrupting the authority, silencing the truth. Again, go back to yesterday's channel message. I have dismantled Jezebel spirit, okay, because a lot of you are going through, like, I don't know how many people have met this demonic spirit out there. They literally try to dismantle a person's divine alignment. They try to dismantle your divine destiny, okay. So what happens when someone marries a person with a Jezebel spirit? Yeah, that's a question to be asked. So marriage is a covenant, not just a contract. So spiritually, when someone enters a marriage with a person operating under a Jezebel spirit, consciously or unconsciously, several deep things can occur. Several deep things, okay? Not just on superficial level. Fragmentation of the soul. Wow. A person may begin to experience loss of identity, confidence, and spiritual clarity. The Jezebel spirit works so dominate and confuse, okay, making their partner doubt their worth, calling, or even sanity. Their divine connection can begin to dim. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It drains you one drop at a time. One drop, bit by bit. That's poison, okay? That's poison to a soul. Now, second is disconnection from divine authority. So the Jezebel spirit resists godly authority, right? If the person had a spiritual calling or leadership role, they may feel isolated, right? Afraid to speak truth or even lead. Plagued by confusion, chaos, or guilt when trying to walk in truth. This is not accidental. The Jezebel spirit's goal is to cut off spiritual inheritance and authority. Exactly. Most of you have your spiritual inheritance coming in, and this spirit knows it, correct? So this spirit also wants to cause oppression and warfare here, right? They may begin to experience unusual levels of. They here is the married person, okay, to this demonic spirit, yeah. Sleep paralysis, nightmares, anxiety, mental fog, emotional heaviness, financial collapse, or strange misfortunes. This is not just psychological, it's a spiritual backlash. The covenant becomes a gateway for spiritual interference, right? Especially if the person is still trying to walk with God. Addiction to the trauma cycle. Many who marry into this kind of spiritual dynamic get stuck in a loop. What is this loop? Hope, then comes manipulation, then apology, then seduction, then betrayal, and then repeat. They know something is wrong but feel soul tied, which is real. The spirit creates false emotional dependencies to maintain control. Because you have spiritual authority, okay? Yeah, sometimes separation is necessary. This is not about legalism, it is about spiritual survival. If a person refuses to change and is committed to manipulation and control, God may call for separation to preserve the other's soul. That is what is happening, right, in the collective. I mean, I have made these notes by myself, and to be very honest, I can feel that this is what is going on. Real warfare and discernment is needed. Spiritual discernment, breaking soul ties, okay, reclaiming your divine authority, okay, you being the real spiritual authority, and separation is necessary. That's what is happening here, right? Cool. Now I'll take up a pocket archetype over here just to check in the energy. Cool. What we are getting for you today. Cool. So what's the energy? Oh wow, 2 came out. Just a second. Oh, 3 came out. Oh my god. Seriously, 4 came out. Okay. First came out, okay, the hunter, the animal, the forest, and the starborn. Hello, starseed. The starborn. Wow. I'll make the sense out of it. Just a sec. Just a sec. Just let me open the guidebook here. Okay. The hunter. Wow. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 2. The hunter says, study the Greek goddess Artemis. Notice her nuanced relationship to the moon, the earth, and the feminine. The predator honors its prey with a precise and skillful hunt. The hunter deeply reveres the life it aims to take. Okay. Your energy is quite focused right now. Okay. The hunter. Your energy is quite focused. Cool. You're focusing upon yourself. You can be a feminine energy, or you can be in your divine feminine energy regardless of your gender. Cool. Yeah, and you are respectful. You're moving forward. Correct. Your mission is very precise, I'm hearing. Right? Exactly. You won't return. So you are on a precise mission given by God here. Right? And you are not returning empty-handed to your eternal home. I'm seeing that, right? And there are a lot of tales of bravery and feats of strength for yourself, okay? For your higher self here. Your higher self is very brave and strong, okay? You have a weapon of choice here, correct? Weapon of choice is, it appears when you have to ask these 3 questions. What I'm hunting? Why am I hunting it? And is the weapon I hold so tightly in my grip truly needed for the task at hand? Something about focusing your energy on what's needed right now. Cool. And not wasting it. Because when this energy is dark, it leads to irresponsible, violent, and even you're aligning your energy with the great creatures of the world, the lion, the wolf, the tiger, the shark. Do so with care, because they are all predators, right? And again, what am I hunting? Like, what are you actually looking for from life? Okay, why are you hunting it? Why are you seeking it? Correct. And third, why are you seeking it so badly? Then comes the animal. Okay, now what's the animal is telling us? The animal is telling us about vitality. Okay, something about, see the card, the animal. Wow, the animal. What has it kept you from doing, wild one? Again, something about your wild side, unleashing your true wild side. Yeah, unleashing your inner animal. Okay, 919 can be significant. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense here, right? Wow. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. Exactly. Something about we getting comfortable in our own skin. You chose yourself. That means, okay? Yeah, you chose yourself. Now I'm getting the forest. Next card. Okay, the forest. Okay, 178. Cool. The woods, the thicket, the jungle. Okay, so this is the forest card. All right. The hunter, the maiden, the crone, and the shaman make regular appearances in the forest. Don't be surprised if these cards come up together. Let the narrative reveal itself. Something about you being magical, okay? You are setting new horizons for yourself. You are on a childlike wonder, adventure, again with yourself, okay? Something about your childhood memories coming in. Such is the magic of the forest, and it requires first that you enter it and then that you get lost within it. You may think that there is a path to lead you straight through, but soon enough you will be on what is known as the pathless path. You are trudging a new path right now, okay? You're trudging a new path right now. I know that there will be a little fear, okay, because you're stepping into the unknown. The Fool card coming in, like the energy of the Fool, but again with the strength, right? Moving into the shadows, but you being brave with the hunter and the animal. Exactly. You unleashing a wild side fearlessly and unapologetically. And next is the Starborn. This is something amazing, out of the world. See the colors coming in. You're from another realm, okay? You're from another realm. Let me read out the Starborn. See who you are. The Starborn. The Star Child, the destined one. The chosen one. Okay? Yes. Bro, yes. You are in alignment, okay? Who are you? Like, you're aimed, you're vibrant, you're trustworthy. Confirmation, peacocks. So when this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Yeah, so this was regarding your childhood, okay? Stepping into the unknown fearlessly. This is regarding an idea of destiny. The Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination. Yeah, you always felt like you are meant to do something greater in this lifetime, and purpose aiming itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. Exactly. And you are not going to live some ordinary life, okay? Some ordinary life. You are not going to live that kind of life, okay? So you have to travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than a series of logistics, okay? Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. Again, the hunter coming in with a very precise path. Again, confirmation. You have a very precise path and you have a destined path that you have to trudge. And with that, you being fearless, right? But you're looking at the forest. You're looking at the forest. Something about your childhood dream. Tap into your childhood memories, okay? Something that your childhood self would like to relay again. Yeah. It can be a suppressed part as well that you are in right now. You're doing the shadow work in the unknown forest, like in the unknown path. And yeah, look at how the eye is at this, okay? And then the Starborn is coming, so obviously it will take you to the destiny. The cracks are already here, right? The cracks are already here. You're already cracking out of your comfort zone. Exactly. You're stepping out, and very soon you're gonna know what you're destined to be. Yeah, what you are destined to be. So that was the message, dear Divine Collective. Thank you so much for joining in, tuning in. I'll meet you in the next message. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Divine Rising and ciao.